overall, which anniversary was the better anniversary? Last year's 7th anniversary or this year's most recent 8th year anniversary? A conversation like this will always be subjective because people have different opinions, and that's perfectly okay. So feel free to let me know how you feel about this. Which anniversary do you think is better? And for this video, I'm going to go over a certain amount of topics, and for each topic I will be awarding a point to either the 7th year anniversary or the 8th year anniversary. And at the end of this video, whoever has the most points will obviously win. I am not going into this video with a preconceived idea. I actually don't even know. I love both anniversaries, but I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into each for a video, so here we are. But I'm also going to give you 5 seconds to guess who this character is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If you manage to guess LR Cell and Cell Jr.'s GG's, you can skip today's subscriber challenge. However, if you did not guess them in that 5 seconds, then you know what you gotta do. Subscribe to the channel, help us reach the goal of 13 trillion subs before the end of the year. I appreciate your love and support. Let's actually hop into this video, starting off with, of course, the new anniversary headliners, the new summonable characters for both anniversaries. And there's 2 topics here. I want to go over the hype of these LRs as well as the utility of these LRs, like how useful were they in the meta relevant content, right? So of course at the time. So first we have, of course, the 7th year LRs here, and then the 8th year LRs here. So also, if you want to keep score with me, feel free to do so. But the first thing I want to talk about again is hype. So which LR from these 2 sets were most hype? And it's tough for me, but I'm gonna have to give it to the 7th year anniversary LRs here. I mean, this was an LR that we've been wanting to see for a very, very, very long time. I've been wanting to see, you know, a dual Goku and Vegeta, and then finally having LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was something we've been asking for such a long time. And these LRs to me are hype, especially this one, but no one really asked for these characters, let's be honest, right? Again, this I'm telling you this so that you can understand I really have no bias here. This LR is my favorite LR in the game right now, outside of LR Tapion and Manosha. I love this unit, but again, let's be honest, no one said, hey, I'd love a Super Saiyan 3 Goku and a Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. If that was you, then shout out to you, but 99.9% people did really, and no, I don't think a single person asked for this LR here, right? But these 2 were LRs that we've been asking for a while, and I think they're just, in terms of hype, the 7th anniversary LRs for part 1 definitely get it. I'll go ahead and give them 1 point right here. And then we have to talk about the utility. How useful and how impactful were these anniversary LRs in comparison to the relevant content of the time? And I think when I'm really thinking about it, I think I'm gonna have to go with the 7th year LRs here. They introduced the 200% meta and changed the face of the game for. You have to understand that when these 7th year LRs, like, you could disagree with me here, that's okay, but the fact is that when these LRs dropped, they gave mini EZAs to like half of the game, okay? Many characters are on Kamehameha in both of these categories, or one or the other, and many LRs are on Kamehameha or 1 or 2 of these categories here, which means many characters just received a 200% buff, something that was completely unheard of until they released. So you have to understand that, again, 170, 30%. So if you run 2 of these characters here, you're giving an extra 60% to whatever unit is on your team. 60%. So before, if you ran, like, you know, LR Gohan on a team, I guess Gohan would fit. Nah, not really any of these teams here, but actually no. Wait, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is here. The AGL Gohan, right? Yeah, here we go. Okay, cool. So Gohan, right? If you were trying to showcase this AGL Gohan, before you only really had a max of 170. So 170 from your lead and 170 from the friend lead, which equals 340%. 340%. So you're only looking at Gohan at a maximum of 340% to his stats. But when these LRs dropped, you're looking at 200% from the leader, and that's 400% in total. That Gohan, without getting an easy A, just got buffed, and many other LRs did as well. So both of these LRs were definitely more impactful for the game, just from their leader skills alone. But remember that the 7th year introduced Red Zone, and I mean, when these LRs dropped, they were pretty much the only thing touching Red Zone. You also had like characters who can come in clutch here and there, right? But these two were really it. Like, they were really it. The 8th year anniversary LRs are definitely the strongest LRs in the game. I mean, many people are crapping on this physical Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, but they're still like, you know, top 3, top 5. It's just, you know, we don't really have anything to compare them to in comparison to the 7th year, because the 8th year didn't really introduce any new Red Zone event or like any really extremely difficult event where only they can shine in, right? So it's like we're comparing the introduction of Red Zone with these LRs here, which allows us to see how impactful these LRs are. And we don't really have the same comparison here. Like, obviously these LRs can destroy the Red Zone stages that these two can, right? And obviously these LRs are better than these LRs here, right? But we're not comparing these two. It's unfair for me to compare 8th year LRs to 7th year LRs. I'm not really here to do that. It's in terms of their utility and impact the day they released, and in comparison to what content was available when they released. And I'm gonna have to give it again to the 7th year LRs here. Again, their leader skill was just one of the most impactful changes I think this game has had in quite some time, outside of things like link levels and such like that. So, or stuff like that. So I'm gonna give the point there to the 7th year LRs. And now it's time to talk about the part 2. Let me go ahead and delete this, delete this, delete this. The part 2 LRs. So again, hype and utility for both anniversaries. I'm not gonna lie to you, in terms of hype, I'm going to easily go with the 8th year LRs here. I think the intros was such a really, really cool idea, and I love the arts for these characters. And I will say that I think a factor here was that many people were really expecting Gogeta Blue and something like, you know, Broly. So when we saw Grade 8 Vegeta and Kaioken Goku, again, Kaioken Goku is definitely hype, but no, like, this came out of left field for many people. Many people still thought the theme of last year's anniversary was, you know, GT in movies, or GT in Dragon Ball Super Broly, but it was just Goku and Vegeta. That's why the part 2 LRs ended up being Goku and Vegeta, right? So I think that played a factor into how hyped these part 2 LRs were, I should say. But even outside of that, like, Grade 8 Vegeta is not even close to as hype for me personally as these 2 LRs here. So in terms of that, I just like yeah, okay, I'm giving the point to the 8th year anniversary. And then in terms of utility and impactfulness, when these LRs drop, Kaioken Goku still can put up really high attack stats. But overall, comparing these two with these two, I think the 8th year anniversary LRs are 100% more impactful on the teams that they're on. They're just these LRs are so much better for their release environment than these LRs were in their release environment. Like, you weren't running Grade 8 Vegeta unless, like, you were trying to challenge yourself in, like, the most difficult you weren't looking at his kit and be like, wow, I can really utilize him in the Broly, you know, the Broly Red Zone. But like, these 2 LRs, these are like the best part 2 LRs I think we've ever seen in any anniversary ever. They're just so freaking good. Like, I don't know. I think in terms of utility and impact, these two, and look at the categories that they're on too. Like that, I think that's definitely a massive plus in comparison to someone like Vegeta, whose category. Actually, no, I lied. Wow. No. Hold up. Yeah. If we're talking about categories, 7th year anniversary, I forgot he was on so many categories, dude. Sometimes I feel like some Vegetas aren't really on that many categories, but then I forget that, no, they are. So no. Categories, the anniversary LRs, 7th year anniversary LRs definitely take that cake. But I'm still picking the 8th year anniversary LRs over that. But categories definitely is a nice thing to consider. But I'm still giving the point to 8th anniversary LRs. I do think that these 8th year part 2s were more impactful. Definitely a lot better for their environment when they released than these 2 LRs were when they release. So 2-2 right now for the both 7th and 8th year anniversary. Now it's time to talk about, let's go over here and cancel these guys out. There we go. Now it's time to talk about the easy A's for both of the. Actually, before we talk about that, I do want to mention about the red zone difficulty thing again, because the 7th anniversary, I think one big or hype factor about the 7th anniversary was the introduction of red zone, right? So red zone was the newest, biggest, baddest event where a lot of players now, when they pull new characters, they compare, you know, how well that new character performs in the most difficult events in the game, which are obviously all red zone stages. So not only did the 7th anniversary introduce, you know, some of the most broken part 1 LRs, but they also introduced an event that will be and has become the most, I don't want to say revered event, but just like the new baseline, the new, like, this is what we're comparing it to. And the 8th year anniversary didn't really do that, right? We obviously have new characters that we can throw into red zone, but red zone was the 7th year anniversary cooking, or the red zone was a 7th year anniversary, you know, product, if you will. Obviously, there were certain events, challenge events that the 8th year anniversary had, but like it wasn't anything on the level and as impactful, I would say, in terms of the game moving forward than the 7th year. So in terms of like impactful events and new difficulty and stuff like that, I would definitely have to give the point to the 7th year anniversary, just for introducing that level of competition or that level of striving to beat this or striving to beat that the 8th year didn't really have. So I think that's also very, very fair to say. And again, before getting into the easy A's, I do want to talk about the free-to-play units. Now, the free-to-play units, if we're talking about utility and hype, I guess we can do that as well, but also the amount, right? I think the amount of free-to-play characters are also super important. I feel, I used to be free-to-play for such a long time, so I used to love every single free-to-play character that I could always get my hands on. And if we just compare here for a second, the 8th year anniversary, released 2 free-to-play characters. One in part 1, we're not counting the login character, by the way, but one in part 1, which was Hercule, and then one in part 2, which was the LR Babidi who awakened, they did just, you know, the LR Babidi. So 2 free-to-play characters in the 8th year anniversary. I'm not gonna lie, if I was still completely free-to-play, I would be disappointed in that, only because the year before, we had 2 characters free-to-play start in part 1. Actually, no, 3 free-to-play characters in part 1, and then they all awakened in part 2. So as a free-to-play player, I would be eating, right, in the 7th year anniversary compared to the 8th year anniversary. So I think in terms of just number, like how free-to-play the anniversary was, so to speak, in terms of free-to-play characters, I would have to give the point here to the 7th year anniversary. I think it's very important to look at how many free-to-play buffs free-to-play players are actually receiving. And the 7th anniversary, in terms of this, definitely, I think, outdid the 8th year. And if we go into hype or something, like, I think this LR was definitely really, really hyped, the exchange Vegeta, but I don't really know if I want to go into that stuff for the free-to-play characters. It doesn't really matter too much. They're just free-to-play units, so any buffs there are definitely really, really nice. Like, we're definitely more critical of how hyped the part 1 LRs are and the part 2 LRs are than any free-to-play buffs, you know? So I don't really think it matters too much, but I do think what matters the most out of the free-to-play characters is just how much we're receiving. Like, I don't think, honestly, like, Dokkan, they could have easily dropped, I think, 2 free-to-play LRs. And I think that would have outdone this, honestly, because these 2 suck. These 2, you don't do anything with these 2 units. But if we were to get like 2, like, let's say we got 2 SSRs in part 1 that, you know, awakened, and then in part 2 they both awakened to LRs, like that, I think that would have been really, really hype, honestly. Like 1 superclass and 1 extreme. Well, honestly, just more free-to-play characters. Like, I don't know, man. I just, I don't know. I just think, yeah, they could have done more. I think with this, they could have done a lot more with the free-to-play characters of the anniversary. That's just my opinion, though. You could let me know what you think. But yeah, right now, currently 4-2, comparing the 7th to the 8th year anniversary. And now it's time to talk about EZAs, and I don't think it's even close, to be honest with you. I think the 8th year anniversary here takes the cake. If I were to go ahead and show you again the units here for the 8th year anniversary in terms of EZAs, we have actually just scan through part 1 just in case. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So part 2, right? Or just the rest of the anniversary, or throughout the entire anniversary, we had 2 Dokkan Fest EZAs. We had another Dokkan Fest EZA, as well as the Spirit Bomb Goku EZA. We also had a lot of new, not free-to-play EZAs, but EZAs for World Tournament characters, including LR Piccolo. And then we also had the, I'm not going to count these EZAs because these are obviously like every LR, every anniversary has the free-to-play EZAs of their new characters. And then the parts 3 LRs or EZAs for the 5th year anniversary LR. So a lot of, that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 LR EZAs, by the way. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 4 LR EZAs, 5 Dokkan Festival EZAs, and a lot of just like really impactful EZAs overall. Very, very solid EZAs. I would like, I don't think the 7th anniversary really touched this. The 7th year, had scan through part 1 just in case. Okay, cool. So everything in part 2, we had the 4 EZAs. So 2 of these are Dokkan Fest, 2 were just banner units. God Goku still one of the best EZAs in the game, but of course, you know, he's just, you know. And then we had the EZAs for what's it called? The 3-year anniversary LRs. And it's also important to consider, right, the 4-year anniversary LRs as well. So overall, it's 1, 2, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4 LR EZA, same with the 8th year. But I think that when you consider everything else, all the other, like, there was just more EZAs in the 8th year than there was in the 7th year. You can argue the impact of God Goku for sure, but in terms of new EZA characters and their overall impact, I would definitely say, because the 5th year LRs are just disgustingly strong, right? I would give the point to the 8th year for sure. I don't think that's really too much of a hot take, to be honest with you. Now, I wish there was a stone count on the wiki here for the 8th year, because we could definitely compare free-to-play stone count from both anniversaries, but there is no, you know, stone count, you know, thing over here. Another thing I want to mention is the EX part. I really did expect the 8th year anniversary to have at least one EX part to their celebration, right? And if you really think about it, the 7th, talk about free-to-play units, I forgot about this unit too. Yeah, the 7th year definitely takes a cake because they have 2 LRs, 2 free-to-play LRs for their anniversary, and 2 free-to-play just regular TURs. And the anniversary for this year had 1 LR and 1 free-to-play TUR. Like, they definitely did not deliver compared to last year. They don't really have to, of course, I get that, but you know, the goal, I believe, should be we upgrade slowly every anniversary. And in terms of free-to-play, I don't really think they did that too well, to be completely honest with you. I don't think they handled it too well. But yeah, overall hype in terms of the anniversary, I mean, I think this is definitely a fair assessment. I think the 7th year anniversary, again, I love the 8th year anniversary. I'm very excited for the 8th year anniversary. But I just think that Red Zone really gave every player something to really look forward to every single day with their new characters. I mean, every anniversary obviously has the coin exchange stuff and like the 7-7 stuff. Like, if I give a point to the 8th year for having this, or the 7th year for having this, I gotta give the same point to the 8th year for having it, which means that we're at the same exact spot that we're at now. So it doesn't really matter, you know, giving them something like that. Like, I'm scrolling through the anniversary just to see if there's something specific that I'm missing that's exclusive to maybe the 8th year that the 7th year didn't have. Because I know we have like the stone exchange, the free-to-play events. What was this event here? Hold on. Oh, just some Dragonstone mission stages. Okay, cool, I guess. Cool. Yeah, the EZA's there, Ultimate Clash. Ooh, the link level is definitely a nice thing too, but link levels didn't exist. The link level keys didn't exist during the 7th year anniversary, so I don't think we can really count that. Also, just the missions. We didn't get any missions, like LGE, LVE missions for the anniversary? Or are they just not here? Again, I don't participate in JP's anniversary, so I usually like to wait until everything arrives on global first before I really look deeply into stuff. But no missions, really? I kind of almost don't believe that. But again, in terms of just content, honestly, yeah, I think content is also a great thing to look at too. Overall content, like, I mean, yeah, does the 7th year anniversary take overall content? Because they had another free-to-play event that they didn't, like, we didn't have here. Actually, two free-to-play events. One for the LR Juniors. That's one LR. And one TUR that the 8th anniversary did not have. They only had one LR and one TUR, where we had 2 TURs and 2 LRs for the 7th year anniversary. Red Zone didn't exist in all those stages. Apparently new events or missions for the legendary events as well, which the 8th year didn't really appear to have. And then since there was just well, I don't know. I don't really know, because 8th anniversary had the easy A's, right? With the world tournament. So it's like, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think overall though, the 7th year was slightly better based off everything I talked about today. And I'm not really surprised by that. Again, I'm super hyped for the 8th year, you know, anniversary and everything it has to offer. But I just think in terms of hype, in terms of impact, in terms of what people were really looking forward to, in terms of new content and events and free-to-play characters, which is, again, free-to-play characters are just the free-to-play community is such an important community in Dokkan, and I want them to eat as much as they possibly can. So, sorry, so for the 8th year not really to deliver the same way they did for the 7th year, kind of disappointing, but I understand, you know, it is what it is. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed 4-3. Very, very close overall, obviously, because they're very similar celebrations. But I think the 7th year overall takes the cake. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.